I've rewatched Naruto, and one character messes with my head the most. Not Pain, not even Madara. I'm talking about Obito Uchiha, because his descent wasn't just tragic, it was engineered. Obito's story isn't just about heartbreak or loss. It's about being chosen by darkness. And the hand that guided that descent was none other than Madara Uchiha. This is what I call the Madara effect. In this video, I'm breaking down Obito's entire fall, from a hopeful, goofy kid with dreams of being Hokage, to one of the most terrifying villains the shinobi world has ever faced. And I'm going to show you, step by step, how Madara didn't just save him, he shaped him into a weapon. Let's unravel the darkest metamorphosis in Naruto, and why Obito's story still hits harder than almost any villain arc in anime history. I remember the first time I saw young Obito in Kakashi Gaiden. I thought, this kid is literally Naruto 1.0, late to everything, big heart, goofy grin, completely in love with his teammate Rin. He had no family, no bloodline prestige, just that classic underdog spirit. Sound familiar? He didn't care about being the best. He wanted to be kind. He wanted to protect his friends and prove to the world that even someone like him could be Hokage. But here's what breaks me. Obito wasn't meant to be special. He made himself special through sheer will. That moment he sacrifices himself for Kakashi and gives him his Sharingan, that was hero stuff. It should have been the end of his story, a noble death. But fate, or rather Madara, had other plans. And that's where things start to twist. Obito's so-called death should have been a funeral, but instead, he wakes up in a cold, dark cave, half his body gone, replaced with Hashirama cells and Zetsu goo. And above him, this old, decaying man, Madara Uchiha. Here's where it gets insidious. Madara doesn't lie to Obito, not directly. He doesn't force him to hate. Instead, he plays the long game. He saves him. He rehabilitates him. He tells him the world is broken and lets Obito watch it break. Madara knew exactly what he was doing. He gave Obito hope, just enough to let him cling to it. Let him believe he'd recover and go back to his friends. And when Obito was ready to leave, Madara showed him the truth. Obito runs back toward the battlefield, and what does he see? Rin, dead, skewered by Kakashi's Chidori, right in front of him. Let's be real, that moment broke him. Completely. And it wasn't random, it was engineered. Zetsu led him there. The Mist Ninja? Controlled? The whole event? A setup. That wasn't just war. That was a test. And Obito failed it, falling exactly where Madara wanted. In that instant, Obito dies, and Tobi is born. I have to say, Madara is the most strategic villain in Naruto. He didn't raise armies. He raised ideology. He didn't force loyalty. He planted seeds of despair and let them bloom. With Obito, he didn't push hatred. He handed him the blueprint for the Infinite Tsukuyomi and said, "This is the only way to end pain." Madara's genius wasn't in raw power, it was in manipulation. He took a broken boy and offered him a mission, a purpose. He used Rin's death not to ignite rage, but to distort love. Obito didn't stop loving Rin. He started loving her memory so much that he wanted to rewrite reality just to be with her again. And Madara? He just sat back and watched it happen. He never told Obito to become a villain. He let Obito choose it. That's what makes it so dark. Obito wasn't possessed. He believed in the Moon's Eye plan. He chose to hide behind a mask and plunge the world into chaos. Because in his eyes, the dream was better than the nightmare of reality. And Madara made sure that dream was the only thing left. Obito didn't just become Madara's successor, he became his mouthpiece. That's why he even took Madara's name at first. Tobi, a nobody who spoke with the voice of a god. Madara didn't raise a student. He built a puppet, and Obito never even realized the strings were there. When we first met Tobi, we all thought he was a joke, that weird guy in the orange mask acting like a clown. But slowly, that goofy facade peeled back, and underneath it was pure terror. Obito's transformation into Tobi wasn't sudden. It was methodical. Every mask he wore, Goofy, Tobi, mysterious, Madara, the cold tactician of the Fourth War, was just another layer of denial. He builds the Akatsuki, manipulates Nagato, recruits monsters, starts wars, and yet, beneath it all, he's still that kid who just wanted to save Rin. That's the worst part. Obito never let go. He just buried that pain under a mountain of bodies. When he faces Konan and tells her, "Because you let Naruto live, you will die here," that wasn't evil talking. That was a man trying to snuff out hope before it could spread, because hope is what killed Obito. He couldn't bear to see anyone believe in the world he had given up on. He wasn't a sadist. He wasn't Madara. He was empty, and emptiness is terrifying. This is where it all comes full circle. When Naruto finally confronts Obito and says, "You're just like me," it's like watching a ghost meet its living reflection. Naruto was the boy who could have become Obito if he had lost hope. If he didn't have Iruka or Kakashi or Jiraiya. Obito sees it too. And you can tell, it kills him. Because for the first time in years, he sees the path he could have taken. He sees what he was supposed to be. And that's when the armor cracks. He turns, sacrifices himself, gives Kakashi both eyes, helps Naruto stop Kaguya, and in the end, he finally gets to see Rin again. Not in a dream, but in death. It's poetic, it's tragic, but it's also forgiveness. Obito doesn't get redeemed because he changed sides. He gets redeemed because he owned his mistakes. He didn't blame Madara. He didn't ask for pity. He just said, "I'm sorry." And sometimes, that's enough. Obito Uchiha's story is the ultimate cautionary tale. He wasn't born evil. He was made, slowly, systematically. And at the heart of it all was the Madara effect, a blueprint of despair handed down from one broken soul to another. But what makes Obito special, what makes his story unforgettable, is that he still had the strength to turn around, to say, "This isn't who I wanted to be." That's why his arc hits so hard, because all of us have moments where we could break. But Obito reminds us, we still get to choose what happens next. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button and let me know in the comments, what do you think? I'm the Brief Chapter, and this was Obito's Dark Destiny, the Madara Effect Explained.